You know, as we go through the book of Psalms, I look at chapter 5 and I learn some interesting things. Psalms is a book not only about God and about, what we endure and all of that in terms of what we're feeling and all of it, but Psalms is about God. Psalms tells us about the Lord. And this is titled to the choir master for the flutes. A Psalm of David is for the flutes. I don't know what the flutes were like, but in those days. But listen to the first couple of chapters, or first couple of the thoughts in the psalm. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my groaning. Consider my groaning. You know, one of the things that we learn is when we go through difficult times, one of the best things to do is not simply to encourage us, but for us to remember what the Lord's like. I know going through difficult times, that doesn't sound right, but you remember that God has provided for you a way to escape. God has provided for you a time when everything evil will come to an end. Everything evil. So he says, give ear to my words, O Lord, and consider my groaning. Give attention to the sound of my cry, my King and my God, for I pray. Give attention to the sound of my cry, for I pray. Lord, in the morning you hear my voice. In the evening in the morning I prepare my sacrifice for you, and you watch. So he's acknowledging that God is sophisticated and big and all of that he is, still watches each of us. Fascinating. Verse 4 says, for you are not a God who delights in wickedness. Now we're starting to learn about God. He's not somebody who delights in wickedness, so he doesn't bring wicked things to us. You say, Rod, well, how is that possible? I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened with it. Clearly, God has not caused the wickedness. We live in a world full of sin. God has not caused the wickedness. That's interesting to remember. Verse 5 says, the boastful shall not stand before your eyes. You hate evildoers, God. God hates evildoers. You destroy those who speak lies. The Lord abhors the bloodthirsty and the deceitful man. He doesn't even like the deceitful man. That's fascinating. But I, through the abundance of your steadfast love, will enter your house. I will bow down towards your holy temple in fear of you, respecting you. Lead me, O Lord, in your righteousness because of my enemies. Make your way straight before me. The psalmist reminds himself that God's way is before him, but he can't see it. But he's saying, Lord, come and make your way straight. Make me to see your way. I love that. Verse 9. For there is no truth in their mouth. Their innermost self is destruction. Their throat is an open grave. They flatter with their tongue. He's talking about the evil ones. Make them bear the fruit or the guilt of their doings, O God. Let them fall by their own counsels. Because of the abundance of their transgressions, cast them out, for they have rebelled against you. Remembering who God is, somebody who loves perfection, loves holiness. We are challenged in the Bible to be holy as God is holy. Fascinating. But let all who take refuge in you, let him sing for joy. It doesn't say if I feel like it. We like to think that everything is if we feel like it. No, it says, but let all who take refuge in you rejoice and let him sing for joy. If we take refuge in God, we will sing for joy. And spread your protection over them. God's protection comes out over us. I find that fascinating. and that those who love your name may exalt you. Do we love Jesus Christ? Do we love the Lord? Then we will exalt him in whatever times we're in. For you bless the righteous, O Lord. In fact, you cover him with favor as a shield. Favor as a shield? Psalms 5 says God's favor is as a shield. So if we're going through difficult times and we're going through a very bad crisis, we need to remember who God is. That helps us to gain God's favor. We remember that God has shielded us with his protection, even though we may not feel like it. There are times when I don't feel like God's protecting me, but he is. God is protecting me. And if I've done something wrong, God will correct me. God doesn't chop us up and throw us away. God corrects us, and we learn it. Interesting ideas from Psalms chapter 5.